Hello. Welcome to the Gridiron Survivor live stream. Today, we're going to talk about our project, go over some sprint demos, and kind of see what else is left in our project. We're trying to launch for the first week of the NFL season since we want to test this application out. So, lots of things to go over and lots of things to look at. But first of all, what is Gridiron Survivor? Um, yeah, that's a great question. Ryan's been asking everybody, right? I might fumble too when you ask me one day, Ryan.
I'm waiting for you to sign up.
Go ahead.
So
Go.
Gridiron Survivor, the project is a project I created because I saw that there was a missing gap for boot campers, self-taught individuals to their first job. They were missing some skills, some things that I saw from portfolio reviews, talking to individuals. They had some technical acumen, but they didn't have the process down and understanding of how to take a feature and implement it. What I mean by that is like understanding how to time box, understanding how to ask questions, understanding how to communicate cross-functionally to the other team or to the designer or even to PM, right? When to tell somebody when you can't get something done on time. Like that, these things are very important to know. And so by going through this project, we're doing the whole corporate process of using sprint boards, sprint planning, we're doing PR reviews, strictly not letting things go. It has to adhere to our coding standards. These things along the way, these individuals are going to learn how to be a good engineer. It's not even a junior engineer at that point. It's being a good engineer and understanding what what it takes to be ingrained into the workforce, right? Because doing projects on your own, it's super easy. You're going to improve your own PRs. You can let everything go, and you're just going to learn as much as you can. But when you work with a team of, I think we have like 10 or so, it's going to be much harder because you have to adhere to styles. You have to ensure you have your merge conflicts resolved, and there's just a lot of things that are moving, and that's how it is going to be like working for an agency, a company, just a team in general. So this project itself is teaching everybody how to work together as one unit. Is that good enough? Cool. All right. And we do have some sponsors for this project as well. Oh boy, I'll pull this up because I forgot. So we have AppWrite, which Jason is pointing to. I think he's frozen. No, he's not frozen. He's just pointing to it. AppWrite is one of our sponsors. We have Front End Mentor, which is one of our another sponsor. Get Kraken, as well as Use Pastel. But we also got a new sponsor as well. Chris, can you tell us about our new sponsor?
Yes. So our new sponsor is Blog Recorder by our good friend Eddie. Shashi was his intern at that conference sitting at the table a little while back. But look, if you haven't checked out or heard of Blog Recorder, you need to check it out. Basically, you use your voice and you talk, about whatever it is that you want to talk about in your blog verbally, and it turns it into a succinct blog post in Markdown or a rich text file that you can then copy and paste into whatever your favorite blog platform is. And the cool thing that I love about it is it's a great starting point to getting your thoughts out. It creates headlines for you. It creates headers, subheadings, sub-bullet points. It tries to fill in the gaps using artificial intelligence. It's backed by Kent Dodds and a bunch of other wonderful people in the industry. We got to see it in person at that conference in Wisconsin back in July, and it was great. So thank you, Blog Recorder, for sponsoring us. I'm a subscriber. I love it, and we appreciate the support to Gridiron.
Sweet. Thank you for that intro. All right. Now, next, we wanted to go over our sprint board to kind of see what tasks are left, what we need to focus on moving forward for the next sprint. And then after that, we'll look at what pull requests we have open right now. There's some that are long-standing, some that need Why are you smiling, Alex? Some that need attention. So this will allow us to kind of work as a team to get this done faster. And then we will end with 2 sprint demos. Demo from Ryan about the admin layout, and then a demo from Alex about the Upright Messenger. I totally forgot to introduce myself and the team. I'm Shashi, senior UX engineer. We have Chris Nowicki here, Ryan Furrier, Alex Appleget. What?
That was the most wrong someone has said my last name in a while.
Whatever.
Oh man.
Jason Torres, we have Mai Bing, and we have Jennifer too. That's it. Done. Ending this.
Moving on.
Moving on. My bad, Ryan.
I feel like
Alright,
this is
how do we say your last name? Furrier.
Furrer.
Fur.
Yep, Furrer. Furrer.
Not
It's a pain.
Furrier.
I
you
get
can
it.
say Nowicki, but you can't say fur.
Nowicki makes sense. Furrer is just not great. Not gonna lie.
Nowicki? I don't know.
Nowicki's phonetic. There's a lot of R's going on there. It's like
Fur.
I can't say horror or brewery, so I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, because
actually.
you're from Minnesota. So, you can't really say
That's all
Don't you
us
know? Minnesota,
Minnesotans.
don't you know? Don't you know?
All these that inside jokes, you know.
Wow, is this not a train going in all over the track? Okay.
Okay, anywho, let's backtrack and get back on track. All right. We usually work right to left. I didn't close these out yet, but we have completed a lot of tasks. I would probably say starting from a couple bugs here, make the selections dynamic because I know we cleaned this up last time. Oh no, yeah, Chris adding the use game process hook. So there's a lot of cleanup that we did. Some bugs that we also smashed, like the sidebar that didn't close. Adding a load spinner to login submission. The email notification, implement email notification. Yeah. And then right now we do have a lot of open PRs. Some of these are stuck. We're stuck on unit testing. I know Ryan and Carlos. I was able to get it working this morning, but then the other tests failed. So I'm working through that, and so I should have that completed probably by tonight. And that way, Ryan, you and Carlos can move forward with that unit test because it's been blocking us for a while. So,
yeah, I just started it. And I'm trying to get it to work with the code that you provided as well. So
okay, cool.
hopefully between the two of us we can get it done.
Yeah, because a lot of those tests deal with the loading spinner. We have when you click on a submit button, we add a spinner to the submit button. So you cannot click on it again, and it's telling the user that something is going on. So we have the functionality working. We're just writing unit tests to cover for those cases. So Alex, I know this table layout was being fixed and tweaked for styling. Has that been completed?
Yeah, it just needs the approval again.
Okay. All right, we'll look at that PR in a little bit here. I know, Jennifer, I owe you a review for this because I have I have to look at the code because I think the group wrapper that you have is wrapping around individual rows instead of the whole schedule. Because at any time, a user can only make one selection. So by wrapping it up in the rows, that's kind of indicating that the user could click on any row, one of the 2 items in a row. Instead, they can only click on one. So I'll look at that again and provide some feedback for you for that. All right. Any other questions or comments about the items in the review?
My admin layout, because we've miscommunicated a couple times on it. which we'll go over later on the stream, but we can either approve just the layout so other things can move forward and allow me to wrap up the unit test for the components and the separate tickets, or the admin layout itself is just going to have to wait for all of those tests to be done.
What's holding you back from finishing those tests?
Oh, I was working on the loading spinner one.
Oh, move on
Yeah.
away from that and go ahead, focus on the admin, because once I finish this unit test with Carlos, we can shift over and then you can look at the code and it should be very simple to
Okay.
mimic what's going on there. I got it to work. It's just failing the other test because we mocked up the use state, and so I got the other half to work, and so it's close. Once it's done, then it'll be fine. So I would shift gears to write unit tests for the admin layout for those components you have. It should be simple as just displaying them, but there's props, then change the props so that it displays the correct values. That's it.
Sweet. Thank you. All right, good. I'll get to work on those.
Okay, cool. All right, moving on to the blocked section. I think this one's gonna be blocked for a long time because Chris, I'm also blocking you because of the self-hosting solution. I did look at that. My Azure DevOps, I need to create some certain services so that I can share it with you, and so you can start going. I just don't know what services to create right now.
Let me get you I'll take a note and action to get you the services. We can go from there. Just a side note, once we do move over, I did find out it is a one-time migration. So when we're ready to go, we migrate over and then we all got to switch over to the new one because we can't go back and re-migrate over.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Silly question, but would we ever need to remigrate, or is there ever like a case situation where that kind of you do need to go back and forth a little bit?
You should only have to do it once. It's kind of one of those things where if we do it once and it doesn't work or something goes wrong and then we keep on, and let's say someone creates a bunch of features in the web-based one, we wouldn't be able to get those back over. So it's like we'll have to as a team coordinate to, hey, no more PRs, no more. Let's wait until we get this redirected and get off of,
Good to know. Good to know. Thanks for letting me know.
All right. This one here, I think we put on hold, Chris, right? Because it's gonna take more time. White pages are taking 5 seconds to load on the server. The context error issue.
Yeah, that's gonna take a little. I think we'll push that to look at in more detail on the next sprint.
Yeah, that's totally fine. This is Eddie. He's not here, right? Does anybody know about this one?
Yeah, he's been reaching out to me. We're trying to coordinate a time this weekend to connect. He's having issues figuring out how to get to the leagues and to the side menu. So
got it.
I'm going to work with him a little bit on that.
Okay. Also, because we're adding this to the main menu now and we need the leagues anyways, look at pulling in data as the user logs in, like the leagues and all entries and stuff like that. That way, as they log in, we have that data, we cache it, put it in state.
Yep.
And then we just pull from that data, and then we don't have to re-pull it every time. Okay, cool. Ryan, yep, admin header, admin nav, and
just
admin.
I put it under blocks originally because of our miscommunication. But yeah, so that'll be just moved to, I guess, to do.
Got it. Okay, so I want to speak to you on that too. That's my fault too for not being clear. But for anybody. When I ask you guys to create a new ticket for something, a new ticket means a new PR. Don't include that ticket into another or an existing PR. When you create it, you're decoupling the work and the logic out, and so keep it separate. And then we focus on the task at hand. Ryan and I, we had a miscommunication. He had the layout ready to go statically without components. And I said, did you create tasks to make it componentized? He said, yes. I said, okay. And then I think I thought I said, let's move forward with this, and then you can come back to it later. But there was miscommunication there. And so he added the components into the current PR. And then now I said, well, since you added it here now you got to create unit tests for all of them and make sure they work.
I screwed myself. It's
So I
fine.
already approved it, and he did that. I was like, well, since
so
it's
mad.
here, you might as well
I'm
add
so
it in.
mad.
Yeah. So I mean, we could have easily reverted it and done that, but it's okay. Like it's moving forward, and it's a learning opportunity as well. So um, we'll continue to flesh this out and then get that done. All right. Next in progress. I know Corina has PR for these accessibility audits. I think this is in the wrong state. I think it should be in review, but I'll let her decide that. Okay, Jen, you're working on the contrasts on the sign in and sign ups. Okay, any
Yes.
questions there?
No. Still gonna get together with Karina. I know. Well, I see she has that ticket, so maybe she already touched on some stuff. I know she has a stream with Ryan tomorrow, so I feel like she might touch on that too. But I'll reach out to her directly and see if she has anything kind of already defined for sign in, sign ups.
Okay, cool. Well, I got some news for you guys. Richard says he's gonna make us some curry when he goes to Render 2025. Right, Richard? That's right. You're on the hook for that.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay, so Walter, I know he's not here. I will connect with him. Been meaning to connect with him to go over some things. So I'll connect with them on this welcome page for Storybook. Carlos is working on the input spinner submission button. I think this is the one, the PR that we're looking at. Yeah, because I think the notification one here is done. So we'll need to clean this up. Some of these reviews are done. Myself, I'm working on the script for parsing the weekly picks, the winners, meaning when the week is done, we need a way to traverse through our collection or a database to find all the games and all the users based on the results of the outcomes. If the Green Bay Packers won and you chose them to win, right? Nothing happens to you in the league. You just move on. If you chose the other team, which is the lowly Bears, and they lost, that means you're out of the league. That means that in the league, we need to remove you from the survivors array, and then I think somewhere else too. And then now, as the user goes on to their account, they can't add any future teams because they're out of the race. And then on the entries page, it'll show you that you're out, and also in the league. And then also that count when you enter into the league, that count for survivors will go down because that individual's out. And so there's a couple trickling pieces to the winners for that week. Yes, Yoshia. Packers always win, right? Yep. Okay. So that so this piece is going to be key, because if not, we would have to manually go through the database and set this up, and then manually go and figure out which users are out based on that. And nobody wants to do that. So this script, I'm continuing to work on this back and forth, but we need to get this completed when we do a soft launch in the early September as well. Okay. Add functionality to email notification. You're still working on that, right, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. And Alex is going to demo what he has with that in a little bit. Okay. So as you can see, the to-do column is pretty bare. What with an accessibility for login page, league entries, cherry pick changes from previous. Oh, this one is the one where the styles and stuff are off, right, Ryan?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so that one, how many points do you think that's gonna take?
Honestly, it'd probably take like, what's the scale again? Half day, I'd say,
Half day.
because it's already in a previous commit. So
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Implement user access. This is a PR, right, Chris?
Yes, it should be in review.
Okay. I'm
I
gonna
just
move
have
it.
to address the 2 comments on that one.
Okay.
But
Right.
yeah,
And then my this update team logo picture. What's the effort do you feel it's gonna take?
So I did do some research to put what it will take entail. But to fix the code and probably write unit tests, I'm gonna say a day. But then I might push it for 3 days just in case the code is not acting the way you anticipated.
Okay, so let me ask you, how do you figure to fix this?
The way I figured to fix that is as of the moment you can see there are 2 separate logos right here.
Mhm.
They are coming from 2 different sources, and
Mhm.
the one that I want to get is the bottom logo pictures.
Okay.
And the way that I anticipate to do that is go ahead and create an API call globally, store it into state, and then so that store that schedule, which the schedule has like the name of the team who's versing
Mhm.
that weekend, the logo, and then grab it from state and implement it and correct it into the team logo pictures area in the entry page right here, and also other areas that uses schedule as well.
Okay.
So
I think it's easier than you think
oh yeah.
because the team it already has team logo and all that. I don't know about if it's saved in state. The schedule, this logo, it's coming from the JSON file. The
Mm-hmm.
JSON file for each team has a logo that came from ESPN. You can copy that path. I don't know if you have. I forgot if you have access to app, right? I don't think you do, right?
I don't.
Okay, so in our collections, you can go here. I'll show you where it is. I'm going into our database right now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go into our collection, and then we have NFL team, and you see this logo right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have logos here, but it's not the same one. So what we need to do is click on the team, go to data, update this URL, and save it.
Oh.
I don't check this. I think that what you need to do is figure out where this logo is coming from. I don't think it's coming from the database because all the other teams have their logo. I think because when I was doing it, I removed it. So look at that. That
Mm.
might be what you're missing. And
Okay.
then if you add it from the database, then right here, we can, you don't have to do this right now. It'll be another task, but we'll grab this logo from the database instead of grabbing it from the JSON file.
Okay.
So just
Okay.
worry about this team entry page, and
Mm-hmm.
that should fix it. So
Okay.
knowing that, I think this has to go to somebody that has AppWrite access.
Okay.
But the logic itself, let's say you got the correct URLs, like how much time do you think it would take to investigate if that entry is missing, like the data itself, because it's supposed to be team logo
Mm-hmm.
from the database? How much time do you think you need for that?
I I would factor in like a day, and a day would entail like 8
Mhm.
hours. So
Okay.
I have a really silly question. So if I'm understanding the task correctly, in Appright, right, in the NFL teams, we don't have all the NFL teams in Appright right now.
We do. I put them in.
Oh, you already put them in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Just that the logos don't match the ESPN logos.
So we just got to
And-
go into the we have to go into JSON file and update them there. Just go ahead and give me that task for the database part. I'll do it.
Okay. We'll have
Or-
to create a new task for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the task for this page is on my. So you look and see where these logos are coming from. If they're coming from team logo in the collections, then that's correct. But if it's not, then we need to figure out how to get it and display
Okay.
it. And don't worry about it being wrong. It just needs to come from the collection, and then Chris will go in and update all the links
Okay.
and make them correct.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so okay, so I'm gonna give this to Chris. How much time do you think that's gonna take, Chris?
No more than a day. It's just tedious. It's just going back and forth and plugging it
Yeah.
in. So I'm gonna guess a couple hours, but I might do it over the course of a day as I find time. So
Okay,
just
3.
give me a day. Yeah.
Okay, edit. Oh, 420. I think you can do this. Yep. Oh, there we go. Okay, and I did this wrong, Mike. You said 1 day. I give you half a day.
That's the goal though, but we'll see.
Okay. Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Yes.
3 days. 3 points. Because if you find that something's wrong, then you need to fix it and make it right. If you find that nothing's wrong, then it's done. Then you got done early, and it's on Chris, right?
Okay.
Cool.
Just blame me anyway, Maya. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. That's okay. All right. That's all that's in to do. We do have some backlog items. These are not particularly ready yet, and these are bigger items that we're refactoring. I can tell you guys that I was planning to add in new tickets this morning, but life got busy. What I was going to add is once Alex's table component is merged in, once Ryan's admin dashboard is merged in, that is going to free up to create new pages. The admin pages, they need data, right now they're bare. Admin pages, there's ability to see all players in their league. There's ability to see all leagues, see all entries. There's the ability to send notifications and whatnot. So those things will start opening up, because also the admin panel. Let me pull up the design. Where did I go? Good thing you guys don't know my password. Oh, damn, my computer is slow.
It must be a Microsoft computer.
Must be the sheer amount of tabs you probably have open in Edge.
Oh,
We
I don't have any.
know how many he has.
Talking about
Edge is open. Edge is open.
It
You
is
usually
open.
have like 20.
See, not that many.
Ah, I'm surprised.
Okay. Pages. Okay, here we go. As we're walking through this, let's look at this. Oh, it's kind of slow. That is not it. Where is my admin panel?
Up above it in the block.
It's the
Yeah, the bottom
There we
like
go.
5 there.
Okay, so as you can see, let's go back. The main navigation, Ryan already did that logic. Ryan, you were not supposed to do that yet, but that's okay. To make them active.
Shame.
Shame.
It's okay.
I
We'll
thought
wait
it was
for
part
it.
of the component.
Okay. Okay. Component is just building components. Okay. Just building components. And then down here as a user, there's a quick navigation to your view profile and whatnot. Down here, the admin here, this navigation here can jump between leagues. So that functionality needs to be inputted. And then like these pages here, right, they're not there yet. Some of them are share the same components, but some of them don't. Oh man. And then over here, right, there's the table that Alex is working on. It's used for the weeks, it's used for the players, it's used for a couple other pages. So those things are going to come up. And then as we create that, there's going to be some little bugs here and there. And hopefully we can get this in by a week's time or so. That way we can start debugging and then getting ready for a soft launch. Any questions? No? Okay, then. All right. Well, demo time. Ryan, are you ready to demo, Ryan?
Yeah, I could demo.
All right, let's go. What you got?
All right. So this is just the admin layout that we were just talking about. Just built with grid. You got a couple of rows and a couple of columns. So yeah, we already had this component. I just had to throw it in here. This is not functional yet. I just made it, as is the one on the bottom here. But so yeah, this is the admin home. The header realistically is going to be dynamic to grab the page title and description. Obviously, description is going to be optional because I don't think everyone has one. But yeah, so we could just navigate through here. Leagues, I just threw in the league card. Obviously, this is going to have to map over whatever leagues that person's an admin for. And but this again, this component I already built out previously, so it's pretty simple just to throw in there.
So I'm playing around and seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
No, this
there's
was
my
this was
touchpad.
good, and I threw a max width on it just because as you get higher resolution displays, you know, it's just like this isn't going to span the entire width, and it's not really feasible. And we could kind of see that here. So I just made a quick table up. Obviously, I didn't have Alex's, and you know, it's spanning out to here on a 2K or 4K or 5K display. It's just going to look worse and worse. So through a max width on the container, obviously we can increase it if we need to. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Alex's table being put in here. And then lastly, we've got notifications. So this is where I'd put it if I had one, because this wasn't implemented yet. But I made the pages for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just build the frame, the theme. That's it.
Yep. Yeah.
And-
The only thing I wanted to do, which I noticed on the design, is
Mhm.
add in that when I'm at home,
Mhm.
this stays with the styles, and then as I navigate elsewhere to move, Leagues did it. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, it did it when I was testing it.
Huh. I don't remember doing that.
Notification.
Cool.
Magic. Well, it wasn't working earlier. It just started working again.
I like it because I definitely wanted to do
It's a
that,
bug.
and I
It's
didn't
a
think I did
bug.
it yet. It's a bug, but it works. It's
It's
fine.
a bug.
I'm gonna go do a code review of his PR right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this was a little bit of a challenge. I don't know why. I just was not. It wasn't clicking for me with grid, which I've used before. But I got it down now, and that's going to help me out a lot in the future because this is a very common layout that's being used. And yeah, just following the design, getting the padding and stuff like that correct, and it was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know at the beginning you had challenges of componentizing them, and then when I told you just to keep it simple, I think not just that, but you were able to decompress yourself away from like work and all doing this, and then you were able to refocus. Can you speak on that?
Yeah. So I had like 2 weeks where work was really stressful, and I was just like, my brain wasn't 100% working. And I was definitely overcomplicating the layout and then the components
Mhm.
itself. So, like I said, I was struggling with the layout. So I took a step back after you said keep it simple. I actually started from scratch and whipped it up within a couple of hours. Not even.
Yeah.
Um, it all just kind of clicked and flowed, which was really nice. Another part of that was doing some more research on grid properties, and I made a custom Tailwind class for this, just so that way I made these percentage based. So this takes up X%, and this takes up another like Y% of the height and width.
I stopped sharing it already. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, just the different columns and rows because of the heights. I didn't want to do it. Not going to set hard pixels and stuff. But yeah, simplifying it and just starting with a clean slate, I just was able to zoom through it. And then the components were really simple. Like I said, the only thing that I still struggle with sometimes with Next is like passing props from the component up to the layout. And because like Astro does it very easily, and then Next just doesn't do it the same way. And
Okay.
the page header is the only thing that. But you said, hey, you made the component. We'll worry about
Yeah.
making it dynamic later. So
Yep.
it was all
Exactly.
pretty straightforward from there.
I think that's the thing that many of you are still learning, and that's fine. Like it takes time. I'm not expecting you to, pick this up right away and be like, okay, I give you this big feature set. What do I do? Alex is, I think, the opposite, where it's like, oh, I got this working. Is this done? I said, no, you gotta keep going. So it's a fine line of, okay, I think I understand what to do, but let me clarify it. Let me go ask what it's going to entail to finish this task, because I'm finding all these other things, and I could have told you like, don't worry about that. Just build the components, build the theme, static data, move on. We'll fill it in later, right? And so there's things that are still learning, and I think your case too. It's very common with a lot of people where you build something, you build a feature, you go so far after a week, you're like, I can't figure this out. And then you just need to decompress yourself and relax and allow your brain to stop like jamming all this information, all these solutions in. And then also, I think by me telling you, like, hey, just keep it simple, just get it to work first. You don't need it to be perfect right now. First, get to work, and then we'll worry about componentizing it after that. Because if it doesn't work, then how do you know if you componentize it right away? How do you know it even worked in the first place? You don't. So you get it working first, and then you're like, okay, it all works the way I intended to. Now let's make it more dynamic. Let's make it more modular. Then now it could be a part of what you're writing that made it fail, right? Because you don't know if the layout was wrong or the styles are incorrect. And so that really helps. So sometimes starting simple is the best thing. Just start, get it to work, and then move on from there.
Yeah, I think something that I was also caught up in was trying to stick with the the built-in Tailwind classes, which, let's face it, can take you pretty damn far. But in this case, I needed a more custom thing, and so instead of doing like a one-off, with the square bracket syntax in the layout, I elected just to make those variables. That way, it's easily updated in the future if anything changes.
Yeah, and then you do that, and then in code review, we'll hammer you anyway. So like, oh, great job, or actually, you've gone too far with this, or oh, you didn't go far enough with this, right? You just don't know until you get it out there, and then let us review it. And then after that, you start to adhere to the styles, and you start to understand what is expected when you create a PR, and then it'll be easier to go through the motions, and then you'll know what criteria we're looking for.
Totally. Yeah.
Cool.
I think it was good. It was good though. I'm glad it's almost done.
All right, our boy Yoshi here has a question for all of you. Who wants to answer this? What is Gridiron Survivor built in?
The tiers of junior developers.
Yeah, tears.
I can go ahead and answer.
Okay.
It is built in Next.js using AppWrite as a backend as a service. We're using Playwright for end-to-end tests. We're using Zustand, the tomato. It's called Zustand though for React state management. We're using Jest for unit testing. We're using ShadCN components as starters for a lot of our components, and we're using Tailwind CSS for the lovely inline styling of our application.
And we do have Storybook for our UI component library to document all of our components and documentation. We are using React testing library as well on top of Jest. Anything else? Anyone? That is it. Okay. And we're using Use Pastel to review our code, and we're using Git Kraken for our Git commits and
see,
merge
here he goes.
conflicts. And we're using Blog Recorder to create blogs of all the things we're creating.
That thing's been great. I have some stuff cooking off on my commutes. I'm loving it.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Ryan, for that demo. Alex, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Fair warning, Ryan. I'm sorry about the UI. It'll get better. So bad.
We'll fix it. It's fine. Oh God, you weren't lying.
No.
Hey.
I got the function.
Make it work, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of for starters, on the admin dashboard and the notifications, we have it set up to where the admin can come in here and they can make a title of the email, which you can't see it right now, but it says test and testing this and the message. And then I have it set up to where my user ID is hooked up to this function. And then when you click send email, and then I'll go ahead and pull up my mail, we get the email.
HGB needs you. Just kidding.
But yeah. Did you want me to like go over the code and stuff, or?
It's up to you. It's your demo.
Yeah, so to kind of like explain how it works is in the page, I have a form, and in order to get this to work with the AppWrite's backend function, I had to use a form action, which thank you so much for that, Chris, for your help. And in this form, it has two use states, subject and content. And whenever they do the input, whatever they put in the input, it's going to set these states to whatever is inputted. And then I pass in these two variables into the send email notification function as objects. So in this file is the backend client from AppWrite. So that way we can take the AppWrite's function, even though it uses Node.js, but we're still able to use it within Next.js. So I kind of just built out the client, then I defined messaging. And now that I defined messaging, and then I pass in subject and content, I can use a create email function now, and then I just pass in subject and content, and then I create a unique ID, which is the message ID. And then here is just my user ID. So whatever is in here is where the email will get sent to. So when you submit the send email, it's going to run this function, pass in the subject and content through here, and then send it to my email that's registered under that user ID.
So in our case, we first want to send a group message to all the users in one league, right? So then the code itself would go find all the users, parse all their IDs, and then pass it through as a prop, right? And then that way you can put it and create an array of those individuals. Then it would it because that's an array, would it send it to all of them at the same time?
It should be able to, because like instead of individually just typing in
Mhm.
like every single ID, I bet I could just grab a league and then maybe do something like league name or something like that. And whatever's in this array, it should parse like all the user IDs
What?
and then send it to all of
Why?
them.
No, you wouldn't put a league name in there. No,
I was
So
like, that would be magic.
that would be
Well-
basically, you could get all the users assigned to the
Yes.
So there's a participants array that is
Mhm.
a part of every league. So all you need
Uh-huh.
is to get the participants array and pass that in as a prop into this function, and that would go there. And so instead of the
Got it.
array,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
instead
because
of
it's
the
already an
array,
array. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
Instead of the
it'll
array,
be like
The
Participants.
user
something like that.
ID right there, is it it matches up with the app rights collection, the user authentication ID, or our custom user collection?
no, that matches up with the user ID of AppRight,
Yeah,
not of the collection.
Okay, so the survivors that we have, which IDs are those? Are those our
No, those
IDs?
are still the user IDs, not the user collection.
Oh,
Those are
okay,
still the
okay.
user.
it.
Everything is attached to the user. So in the collection of
ID.
users, we
Mhm.
Yeah.
have a user
this is what
ID
it's using.
user ID attribute.
Got
Yep.
it.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
my user ID
Yeah.
right here. So when I
Okay.
pass it in, it
Got
knows
it.
what my
Got it.
email is.
Because if you go back, Alex, you go to the collections, the database itself, and then go to auth.
So
Go to the auth. Yeah. This is where the ID is coming from, right? Like if you click on Alex,
Yes.
or whatever,
It
that
is.
ID right there.
It's
Perfect.
coming through that using this is the original function
Yes.
that shout out to Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Richard wrote from the very beginning. So once a user signs up for the first time, there's a function that runs on that user creation that creates
Mhm.
our user collection and brings in the user ID along with it.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that it's the same ID is being used. Otherwise, the participants array list would not be functional. But
Correct.
because it is,
Yep.
it's easy. Oh, great job creating that. Now it's easy to just throw that in
Yeah.
and send it to everybody in that list. And the cool thing is, because we have a survivors list too, you later we can say, hey,
Mhm.
only send this to the people that are still in the game, right?
Sure.
Or
Yes.
hey, send it to the people that are only eliminated, whatever the admin decides to do. So that's pretty cool. Very cool. Well, I know early on you had some struggles with implementing this. How did you flip over to using the server actions and getting that working?
Yeah, so that's where I thank Chris so much. Like he helped me out. So basically from starts, when I first did this, I looked at messaging, and after talking to you, Sashi, we went with the email route because the
Mhm.
email with Mailgun, which we have right here that I'm using, it's free. It has like a free tier.
Mhm.
And the first issues that I had is, so basically create target is an ID that we could use to send a message, but there's no function to grab the target ID, so we couldn't use that. And because we couldn't grab the target ID, the topics won't work, which is the
Mm.
group. The only thing that would work is obviously the send email, and
Mhm.
here we use a user ID, which I was using.
see.
Anything else after this, I just deleted to get it to work because
Yeah,
we
got it.
only need the user ID. Now, the hard part for me is, if you notice here, there's
Mhm.
nothing for the front end like web or client side, so it will not work in Next.js. So then Richard like came up with the idea of like AppWrite functions. So if you go into here,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
here's the user auth function, like I could probably have done that for send email, but
Mhm.
if you go into the settings here and events, like an event has to trigger for this function to run. But
Oh, I see.
but we're just sending an email. So it's like, I don't want it to listen to any events, because if we have it listen to events on the front end, like it could be spamming people with email. So I was like, that's not going to work. And then that's when Chris like mentioned the server actions to me. And with server actions is when you can literally just take that app write function, build out kind of your own backend.
Was there any documentation for that?
No.
So if you create it and you contribute to AppWrite's open source framework, you can add this in there.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Or you can
You
just get
actually
Richard.
you have access to Richard too, who could
Yeah,
kind of
or you can
proofread
just get
everything
Richard.
and really make it tight for you.
Yeah, because if you commit it, then it's in your name, and then you commit it to AppWrite's open source documentation or wherever they house it, and just let Richard know, and he can review it. And then when they merge it in, it is your name. You
Oh yeah.
contributed to them.
No, yeah, that'd be
So that'd
awesome,
be cool.
because
Yeah.
to show people like, hey, this function may not work in Next.js, but there is a way. But yeah.
All right, now let me ask Chris. How did you know that the server actions was going to work?
Yes. So I knew that server actions were going to work from a lot of the stuff that I've done for Deals for Devs and James Quick. On the we use server actions when we collect email addresses. When people subscribe to Deals for Devs to get subscriptions, I wrote the server action that does that, and I learned it by playing around with Next.js. Originally on my portfolio site, I had an email, a little place where people could input an email and send it. And so that's what I did, a server action for that. Now, did anyone send me an email? No. So I got rid of it because it didn't make any sense. But it just experience working with it and knowing about it. And there's a lot of great documentation out there on server actions, how you can use them. There's different ways now on client components, all right, which most of our application is client side. The only way you can access server actions is via a form. But if you have a server component, let's say that doesn't need to manage state, but you need it to run a few things, you can access it via, I believe you can access actions via buttons. You can create a function that runs as a server inside a server component without having to create a separate file. So there's a lot of different things you could do. In this case, what I did was I looked at the code on AppWrite. I'm like, okay, this is their server SDK. I know we already have it installed. And so I'm like, okay, we're client side. We're going to be filling out some sort of a form. This will work. Just go ahead and okay, cool. And I was getting caught up on so what was hanging me up was all these actions. I'm like, this is just sending an email. And I've done a lot of work with resend, React email as well. So I was like, this is a little, I think we're overcomplicating what needs to happen. But again, if I hadn't had exposure to that with helping James Quick and doing it on my own portfolio site, I would have not known to go, oh, like it was as soon as I read through what was going on, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I know what we need to do. And within 30 minutes, I didn't write any of the code. Alex did. I told him what to do. I said, hey, you need to create a form. You need to create a server action. Here's what you need. Here's a YouTube video, giving him the tools to go and learn it.
Nice.
But he was able to do it within 30 minutes. And we got an email out, and we were both really excited about that. So that's cool.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Small wins, big wins.
It's amazing how you can literally just take a backend function and then just create a form action and just throw it in there and it works.
I think this is a good testament to just working together and understanding how things work. Sometimes you will find things that don't have any documentation at all, and you figure out a way to go around it, or not around it, but figure out a way to get it to work. Because every company will say this too, that has documentation. They don't write 100% pristine docs. Like some things are missing, some things don't work correctly. That's why you have to provide feedback. And this is a good case for that, where they wrote, the messengers came out a few months ago, Jason?
Yeah, April, so. Right? I think.
So they're still writing their documentation. So that's what I was saying, Alex. If you figure this out, contribute to them, it helps you, because then you're contributing to an open source platform.
Now's a super good time to be contributing too, because 1.6 is coming out. They have the announcement event next week. There's a lot happening, and these little components and adding to it are perfect. And Shasha, you touched on this too, as far as like the testament to working as a team. And I think as Ryan said, as fugly as Alex's UI and UX was, that proves exactly like working in the ticket, working in what you're supposed to be doing with your ticket, and not like taking the scope creep, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't his thing to do, so he didn't do it, and it's perfect. Like, he did such a good job with it. So I think everybody knowing like what the thing they're supposed to be working on specifically in that ticket, and then taking those next steps, and then Alex taking a step out and making sure he's getting the help and finding the resources, like, just all around great job. So
Cool. Well, we are going to wrap up and close this stream. Any last words from anybody else before I close this out?
Well, great job, Alex. I think he's been killing it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I guess, sorry, I just thought about this. So I can add the group thing, but like maybe fair warning in advance if you guys get like random emails. It's from me. Don't worry about
Well,
it.
guess what? My email's not in there. My pretend email's in there, so I'm good. But you need real emails to test this out, okay? Chris, you're on mute, Chris.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Because I think in the Mailgun free version, I have to manually input your emails and then have you guys verify it for it to like go.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. I would say this is, I know we've been a little bit slow since we came back from that conference, but there's still things that are being done. Code reviews still happening. Things still moving along. I'll work with Jason. We're going to create some new tickets and try to wrap up the admin side of things, and then do another bug bash for that. And then for the users endpoint, like the user side of things, it's coming along really well. I think for a soft launch, it's going to work out really well for us, and that way we can test things out and continue to move forward. But it's been a long journey. I think a lot of you, I know Maya and Jennifer was with me at the beginning of when we started this, and then Jen came back. But with Ryan, Chris, and Jason coming, like 6 months ago, and then Alex like 2 months ago, it's or so. It's been a journey and a learning curve and all that. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback from a lot of people. I've gone on a lot of podcasts. We went to the conference, and I don't intentionally bring this up, but when they ask me what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I'm working on this thing on the side with these individuals, and they're so like amazed at what we're doing and what we're teaching, and I mean what I'm teaching y'all and like what y'all doing, because it is a missing piece to a person that doesn't have any experience. It gives you so much more. And I've gotten so many good vibes from people, and suggestions and stuff like that. And I'm just excited to see where everybody's journey goes, because somebody was saying this, like when I was explaining it, I think it was at that. I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. We're doing sprints. We're doing time boxing. We're doing PRs, ESLint, all stuff. And they're like, oh, Shashi, you're building 10x engineers, huh? And I was like, oh, maybe. Because these kind of skills, you learn on the job, and you don't learn it before the job as often. But learning it before, as you go on the job, it's going to be easier for you to onboard. It's going to be easier for you to get acclimated with your team, and you're going to learn these things way faster than anybody than others. You've already learned like the first year's worth of being a junior, and you're going in and you're going to advance to 3 or 4 years way faster, because these skills are, like Richard was saying in, I think, our chat yesterday. He was saying that he enjoyed this group and this cohort because I would give him straight answers, whereas his manager can't. Like because of legal issues and all that stuff, right? They can't really say, "Hey, Richard, right now this kind of sucks. Like you need to make this better." He can't say that legally. He can say, "Hey, great job, make this better." But you know what I mean? Like I try to be honest with you guys and give you good feedback and allow you guys to grow. And I think that's one of the best things is getting that feedback to say, hey, let me redirect you. Like you're going down the wrong path. Let's do it this way, or go over here, look at this, and allowing you to learn and grow in a way where you're going to understand what you need to do to continue to have success in your career. So I hope you guys are still enjoying this. This project is going to soft launch soon, but it doesn't end there. There's so much more to do, and we will see you guys in the next live stream.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, everyone.
See you.
Bye.